Today on the podcast, we talk about one of the most trippy TV shows in history, and we have a special guest. Stay tuned. So today we are talking about, not a movie, but we're talking about the TV show Lost. And we have a very special guest, S.R. Hayworth, writer and director of, what do you write and direct?
Oh, Lord. Well, mostly horror movies, I guess.
Or shorts films?
Yes. But it's all I've had time to do, rather.
Okay. And you recently finished watching Lost, right?
Yeah, actually. I mean, I watched it when I was a bit younger, but didn't really remember much of it, so had to go back and watch it again to really get a good idea of what was going on.
6 seasons, 121 episodes. You watched them all?
Yeah. You know, it's kind of strange. I mean, took about, 6 months?
I don't know.
Man.
That's what I was going to ask you.
I have no clue.
I was just going to ask you next.
I mean, in this binge watch culture, I guess it doesn't take too long now, does it?
I could have done it in 4 days.
Yeah.
So, you are my first guest on the podcast, so welcome.
All right.
It's only episode 2. Last time we talked about Terminator 2.
Oh, fun.
And now we're in episode 2.
Hey, how about that?
It's the last episode. Not that you can't find it, but it's the TV. Okay. Just to get the listeners to know a little bit about you.
Oh,
what's your favorite movie?
oh, God, you're really going to pin me on that one? Man, that's really impossible. I guess it really depends on what mood you catch me in, but you know, the first movie that actually pops into mind, I would actually have to say, is Evil Dead 2. Just because, you know, it has that. I mean, aesthetically, it's supposed to be horror, but I guess when it gets down to genre, it's more comedy, and I just like how the two fit together. But I guess if we're going off, what is the first movie to pop into my mind when I think favorites? I would definitely say Evil Dead 2.
More than so I've never seen. Well, maybe I have. The first one, is that good?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The first one's like OG. You know, they're actually not. There's a bit of a debate about whether the second movie is actually a sequel, a prequel, or a remake of the first one. But I mean, the first one was. The first one was. For an up-and-coming filmmaker, it was amazing, and especially in the special effects field. But also, I think because the director Sam Raimi was finding his quintessential, or not quintessential, but I like long words and I try to use them even when they don't fit in the conversation. But he was finding his style, and you know, I like the quirkiness of it. A couple years back, he came out with another movie, Drag Me to Hell, and I remember all of my friends were really confused by it. Yeah. Especially, there's a couple of like really tacky moments, but
I've never seen it.
It's you have to know his work in order to understand where the movie's coming from. Otherwise, you're like, wow, this is kind of a strange movie, isn't it? Not in terms of not like David Lynch type weird where. Dream logic, you know, but more of like the just like strange. I don't know how else to explain it.
So last episode in the podcast, I was actually talking about how sequels are often not nearly as good as the original, and so I found it weird that I was talking about Terminator 2 before I was talking about Terminator, but you think Evil Dead 2 is better than... What's so great? Why is Evil Dead 2 better than the first?
I don't think that it's necessarily better. I just think in terms...
Well, why do you like it more, rather?
Because it's a lot funnier.
Oh.
I think.
I've never seen the first one, so I'm just honestly asking out of curiosity.
It has a really good balance, I think, of moments that are rightly terrifying, and then it follows it up with moments that are just like so funny. I mean, they're grossly funny, but they're funny, you know. splatstick, but yeah, it's not, the first one isn't necessarily better, and it all, you know, when it comes to sequels, it really depends upon, is this a story that I can continue, or am I trying to pull a rabbit out of a hat, I guess, for lack of a better phrase, and trying to end up like the Matrix, where now you have like, it was all planned from the start, and now the story is really convoluted. And actually, people really liked this. Some people really liked the second one. So don't, you know, somebody don't crucify me. Yeah, but
I've only seen the first one.
Well, I don't want to spoil the second movie for anybody, but no, I'm not
whole
gonna.
Podcast
But essentially, I feel the first Matrix movie, it felt like it had a definite end to it.
Mm-hmm.
Did it not? And then people liked it so much they wanted a second one, and so, you know, it just turned into a piggy bank, and they ended up writing a sequel that had a lot of plot holes and a lot of, like, you know, just kind of weird. I don't know how
weird
to
stuff.
Yeah, story wise, because now, like, the deeper it got into it's a simulation inside a simulation inside a simulation. Like, the deeper that you go into that rabbit hole, the harder it is for you to make a story that is, you know, that people
coherent.
could really buy into, I guess.
Okay. Early on in my life, I went to Disneyland. Mm-hmm. I think it was Disneyland, and they were showing Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and it was in 4D. And there was a part where, like, a bunch of mice got loose, I guess.
Oh,
and they had, like, air blowing on the floor, and it scared the hell out of me because I thought there were mice all over the floor. So I'm not sure if that's my first movie memory, or if my first movie memory, because I also remember going to see Star Wars Episode 1, which I know came out, which I know came out in 1999, I think.
Youngins were youngins.
And I remember the guy sitting next to me had really bad BO. I'm not sure which one of those came first. Do you have a first movie theater memory?
Actually, I do, and I'm so happy that you ask, because I feel like it says a lot about me as an artist, and it says a lot about me, about my writing style, because my first movie memory was actually this really, really bad 2000s flick called Eight-Legged Freaks, and it was a story about a town that gets overrun by giant spiders, like this totally just like desolate, I think it was like a desolate country town or something, but you know, all the people are so like hokey and you know, like like let's
like
get out the shotguns and blow the spiders to smithereens, and you know, it was meant to be one of those movies that were, you know, it wasn't meant to be, it was a horror movie, but it wasn't meant to be taken so seriously, you know?
Sounds like a good one.
Oh yeah, it was great. It was awesome. That was I'm sure there are stories that my parents tell about going to take me to see movies, but I don't remember. So if you're asking me, like, what is the first movie that I remember seeing in theaters, it was Eight-Legged Freaks. Yeah. But apparently,
because the other thing is a totally different story.
Right. Well, apparently, when I went to go and see Episode 1, I tried to yell at the people in the booth to turn it down.
Oh,
it was too loud.
Like during the
THX.
Yeah.
Turn
it loud.
Down.
I could see that hurting your
I didn't do that, Dad. God.
So if you could remake one movie, what would it be and why?
People are going to kill me for saying this.
Or in this case, since we're talking about Lost, I'll open it up to TV shows as well.
I'm going to say, and again, people are going to hate me for saying this, but I would really like to make...
It's okay, people won't hate you. We have no listeners.
Make or see Well, just putting it out there is terrifying. I never know how people are going to react to it when I say it in real life. But I want to be the daring soul to at least like make, or someday see another daring soul remake Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. And that's because
You're aware it's been remade already with
not shot for shot. No, and not not that at all. No. I'm talking.
Yeah, because that was an exact.
I'm talking not an exact remake.
It was a copy.
I'm talking
Copy paste.
I'm just talking a new version of it.
Yeah,
and
and that's what I like as far as reboots go.
Yeah, I mean, like I feel like there's a lot of story potential. Bates Motel was pretty successful, right? And I don't feel like anybody felt like that was their toes are too much stepped on, I guess.
Yeah, it was a hit TV show.
But
for real.
yeah, no, and not to make like a faithful adaptation, or I guess more of an adaptation than a remake. But I don't know. Usually, when I bring up trying to remake or adapt Hitchcock, people are like, "Watch yourself." I'm trying to learn from the greats and make new art here, people.
Hitchcock is he's basically like the Jesus Christ of cinema. And so you can't really say anything bad about him.
I think I can find a couple of things, but that's for another time.
Maybe
for another time, but no.
Okay.
We're not gonna get into that.
Let's finally get into what we're here to talk about. Let's talk about Lost. So, a little fun fact about Lost. The pilot of Lost was the most expensive pilot in TV show history. It cost approximately $14 million
Good God.
to make the pilot of Lost. Just the pilot. $14 million is a big budget show. Just to put that in perspective, the average cost of a pilot, or a TV show episode in general, actually, is $4 million. So, it's more than 3 times.
Right. Well, I think that it was definitely warranted. I mean, how else were you going to do a plane crash without money?
Yeah.
But I think actually probably the most the part of it that probably cost the most was that they probably had to fly everybody out there just to film that pilot, because it's the pilot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so they probably had some. Well, no, they bought that plane, didn't they? They did. They probably didn't remake that plane. They probably bought that plane and then, fixed it up to make it look like it blew up or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's probably that too. But I mean, to fly everybody there and fly everybody back to wherever they are, sure, has got to be a lot of money.
So, what did you think of Lost as a whole? Did you like it?
As a whole, I would say yes, I liked it, but it's so difficult because I can understand where people are coming from when they're like, "Oh man, it was really disappointing when it got to later seasons."
Did you feel like it dragged at all?
When you maybe a little bit in the middle, I felt like maybe sequences with Jacob dragged a little bit. But I kind of understand why they did that.
Jacob, on the first viewing, for me, Jacob felt a little bit forced. Second time I watched it, though, I totally like everything they did. Yeah. I like it from point A to point B.
Sometimes they try to be a bit too mysterious, and I kind of feel like that's maybe where that comes from. Like, we get it. Like, it didn't take long for me to put together that that his brother, what do they call him, the nameless man or whatever. It didn't take me long to realize.
Oh, Jacob's brother?
Yeah, it didn't take me long to realize that. Well, if Jacob's not the smoke and he lives forever, then this other guy must live forever, so he's probably has something to do with the black smoke, and it turned out to be right. So, and I mean, like, they can't expect everybody in their audience to, you know, do that, but sometimes you have to spoon feed people. But
so, what'd you think of the ending of Lost?
I actually really liked the ending.
Yeah,
I did, and I felt like it felt right, actually. I know that it's really made fun of for being, like, super contrived and, like, it doesn't make sense, and I don't understand why they wrapped it up that way. And I think I remember when I watched it the first time when I was younger, I think I remember saying, like, yeah, it doesn't sound like it, because I didn't finish it, because I was like, why are they going back? Ugh, I don't get it, and then I just quit. And
it's a confusing show at times.
Right. I guess maybe I just wasn't in the right mental space for it.
Yeah, I guess not.
I was still in my anime era, unfortunately. But
happens to the best of us.
Yeah, but I actually felt that the elaborate purgatory was right in place. However elaborate people felt it was. I mean, and because and I understand why they did that too, writing wise, because I mean, they have to stray, because they wouldn't. I don't think that the audience would have been satisfied if Jack had just, like, died. You know, if, like, he went through everything and then just died, and then there was no, like, reunion. I actually think people would have been more upset if they hadn't had that elaborate purgatory where he reunited with Kate and Jin and Sun reunited. I think that's really what people would be most angry about, is that
that was sweet.
They died, you know. What about the baby, you know?
A lot of questions in Lost that needed answering.
So
I feel like they did pretty well.
As out of place as it felt, I understand why they did it, and I feel like it was a good decision on their part. And I feel like it made for a good last season too, because it gave you the resolution that you wanted without having to have, like, an epilogue episode, you know, because God knows we all hate those, right? Please tell me you hate those.
Yeah, I hate them with a passion. Did you have a favorite character?
Oh, yeah, Saeed. Oh, Saeed? Yeah, hell yeah. He was the most compelling character throughout the whole thing, because, you know, the first couple episodes, they kind of tried to, like, I don't know, they kind of ignored him the first couple of episodes, because he was just the technology guy. Yeah. But, and then he was like, oh, he's the torturer, you know, like, and that's super compelling, because he's like, whoa, he, you know, obviously he tortured people. But, I think the most compelling thing about him was his relationship with Shannon, and that he had this undeniable tender side to him. And that was just, you know, because it, you know, especially at that time when it first aired, people were so anti-Muslim. And so I think it was really important to have somebody who was in the Gulf War, you know, be in the show.
I was surprised. I watched some behind the scenes of Lost. I was surprised to find out that Saeed was English.
Yeah. British.
Because on the accent, on the show, he didn't have an accent. And I guess he did it really well, because I would have never suspected.
Yeah, well, actors, man.
Yeah. Also,
that's what he gets paid to do.
The guy from House.
Yeah.
That blew my mind when I found out he was English too. Wow.
I think the only one that surprised me was Liam Neeson, because I'd only seen him in Taken, and then I figured out that Taken and Star Wars Episode 1, and then I found out he was British, and
that one surprisingly didn't shock me that much.
Blew my mind.
Did you have a favorite moment throughout Lost?
Let me think about that one.
Or what are some of your favorite moments throughout the series?
I really liked Kid Jacob. I thought that was fun, that he would just like
appear.
Yeah, and just like stare at them through the trees. I thought that was really fun. And I thought that when the others would come and they would hide and they would just see feet walking by, I always thought that those were really good sequences. And I think at the top of the list, in terms of emotional effectiveness and memory, like what's like memory wise, I guess. I would say when Charlie died, because that would, I cried for because I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming because he was writing that list like 5 episodes before, and I was crying like 5 episodes in advance. And
he had that warning from
Desmond and everything.
That he could see the future in his dreams or something.
Because I thought, there's going to be a way that he's going to get out of it. There's got to be some way that he's going to get out of it, and I'm going to be so ridiculous for crying these 5 episodes. No.
Charlie dying was sad. That was probably
heartbreaking.
Yeah, that was. It was intense. The whole show was intense.
I know. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about it.
It's okay. Sorry to laugh at your pain of Charlie dying. Do you or do you not remember the numbers that haunted Hugo?
No.
The numbers that you would punch into the computer every 108 minutes?
18, 16. I have no clue.
Oh, I
know it ends in 42.
It does end in 42. 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42. And I'm not reading that. I know it.
Yeah, I know.
It's in my head.
I know. Are you telling me that you're reading off of a script right now?
Yes.
Oh my god.
See, what's happening
is
you're writing...
Fake!
You're writing the script in your head because you're a screenwriter.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm reading your mind. Thus, I'm reading a prompt from the play you haven't written yet. Play, movie.
Welcome to another state of mind. You have now entered the Twilight Zone.
Was there any point in Lost where you felt like it was maybe a bit too contrived or anything? Any dislikes about the show?
Yeah, sequences with Jacob and the Nameless Man, like I said. And then there were just, I don't know, sequences that dragged.
Did you?
I guess. Oh gosh, no. Go ahead. Well, no. Keep going. I can't make up my mind about that question.
Did you suspect the twist? I think it was the final season, maybe the second to last season. Did you expect, or at all see coming, the twist of John Locke being the smoke monster?
Oh hell yeah! Are you kidding me?
Or vice versa, rather. It's the smoke monster being.
Are you kidding me? By that point, the snow monster, the smoke monster had already showed up as a couple. The abominable smoke monster already had shown up as several dead people before that, namely Jack's dad, Jack and Claire's dad. So. I mean, it was kind of, it wasn't an outlandish thought. And when I saw them carrying around that big fucking box thingy, I was like, well, it must be his cat. I mean, what else would be in that other than a body, right?
So how far into it did you know? As soon as they re-crashed on the island and John was walking around, did you believe that it was actually the island's magic bringing John back to life, or did you automatically, right off the bat, know, smoke monster?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't an immediate thing. Definitely not. I think it was when there was a scene where I think Ben had gotten like beat up or something. I can't remember. And
Ben
he
always
was, like,
gets beat up.
Yeah, he always gets beat up, doesn't he? And he's
Ben.
like passed out in a bed, or maybe it's the other way around, that John Locke's in the bed or whatever. But anyway, they go to see him, and John Locke and Ben talk, and he says something about like, no, I brought you back here. And the only other person that we had heard, I brought you here from, was Jacob, and by extension, therefore, Jacob's brother, right?
Sure.
So I think it was kind of in that bungalow scene when I think it was kind of when Ben found out that John Locke was still alive. That's kind of when I was like, oh yeah, he was like, I can see it, but I didn't think it was possible. I think he said,
yeah.
and that's kind of I think it was, that's the line that I think I didn't think it was possible, and I think I just had this thought of maybe because it's not.
I don't think I got it until they spelled it out for me, being that, they show John Locke is still dead.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, nothing's fun for me to watch anymore because I always
predict everything.
No, I don't want to say that. That's so presumptuous of me to say, but
you do predict a lot of things, though.
It's so sad.
I'll give it to you. You have much better intuition than I do.
If we're on the subject of twist endings, can we all stop? They were in a mental hospital the whole time. Like, come on, I see that.
How pissed would you have been if that's how Lost ended?
Oh my god!
Like,
I would have been out of that. Would have actually made me angry. I would have written letters.
Like it was all just in Hugo's mind.
Oh my god! I would have been. Oh my god! And that was a totally viable option that they could have taken, and I'm so glad that they didn't, because I would have been so angry. But seriously, I'm so sick of that.
What are some other options they could have gone with to end the show?
Oh no. Oh God, don't get me creative here. Hold on, I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna think for a little bit.
Well, I meant to start the podcast with that. That's Lost's theme song.
I think other people probably had thought this, but there was like this bump. At the start of the last season, they have this little bit of turbulence on the plane, and you think, oh my God, it's going to go down at the end, but then it is just fine, right?
Yeah.
And I think Jack wakes up from a nap at the beginning of this scene, and so it's kind of, you could say that it was a dream the whole time, It was just this crazy dream.
So,
or I could probably come up with a better one, but
yeah.
I need some time to think.
That would have made a lot of people mad. Just like the Hugo's, imagination as well. Well, then again, the real ending did make a lot of people mad.
Or that
just because they didn't understand it. Because the first time I watched it, I didn't totally understand it. Second time I watched it, loved it. Because that metaphor that Jacob uses with the wine bottle,
yeah,
and
it's
the
pretty
cork,
good. I wanted to see all the evil in the world. What gives? I thought it was supposed to be at the bottom of that well with all the light, and then he fell into the well, and then there was like another well at the bottom of that well, and I'm like, come on, dude.
Wellception.
You can't do that to me. If you promise all the evil in the world at the bottom of the well, I fully expect all the evil in the world. Yeah. Come on, JJ. You can do better than that.
Not just most of it. Either
100% all of the evil accumulated in that well.
Yeah. All of it. Every last bit.
Every last drop.
Besides main characters, I know Saeed's your favorite, but besides main characters, do you have a favorite side character? people I would classify like side characters would be like or the brother and sister.
Boone and Shannon.
Boone and Shannon. I would also classify Rose and Harold, the teacher guy.
Oh yeah, I liked him. The really annoying science teacher. Actually, I liked him.
Basically, anybody that wasn't Jack, Kate, Sawyer, Saeed, Charlie, Claire.
The lieutenant that kills Ben's daughter.
He's your favorite?
I loved to hate that guy.
Really?
Because he was just he was like such like amazingly written chaotic evil, I guess. And I don't know, every time he was on screen I was like, oh, I hate that guy, you know.
He wasn't even in that many episodes.
No, but his presence and his character was so effective. Because you could really tell he took such joy in just like being terrible to people.
Yeah.
And I feel like when characters like that are executed well, especially on the actor's part, they're really, really effective and they're really memorable. And again, like I just had that reaction every time he was on screen. I was like, oh, this guy. I hate this guy. But that's the reaction that you want, right?
Yeah.
So...
Because typically you either want someone to love a character or hate a character. Right. You don't want the viewers to feel indifferent about it.
And then I really liked Harold too, even though he was only in like
Harold,
3 episodes.
No, Harold was in a lot more than that guy.
Really?
Yeah. Oh. Harold was there when I think he was there when they were defusing the bomb. Not the bomb. The dynamite.
Yeah, and then he exploded. That's when he died. And then he was in a couple episodes earlier because they had to introduce the character first.
Wait,
and then he was briefly in the elaborate purgatory in the final season.
Oh, that guy. But sorry, I was thinking of Bernard. I was thinking of Rose's husband.
It.
Bernard. You know, the guy that went to the bathroom during the plane.
Yeah. That was a good... See, they were really good at drawing out... I think that's what Lost did best, was drawing out reunions.
Yeah.
Because, oh man, we wanted to see Rose and Bernard get back together. We wanted to see the Kwans get back together. We wanted to see Charlie and Claire. I don't know why I just blanked. I was just talking about it like so much earlier.
Even maybe Jack and Kate.
No, I didn't care about Jack and Kate whatsoever. I was like, yeah, screw them. I don't care.
Even when they get off the island?
They had their chance.
Even when they get off the island?
I'm sorry. Like, yes. They had every opportunity to be together.
Did you not like Jack or Kate?
Now that I'm dying, I'm going to tell you that I like you. Come on!
Okay, so you don't like Jack and Kate together.
But I guess that's what they were going for.
So you don't like Jack and Kate together, but do you like Jack or Kate separately?
Oh, yeah. They should have just left it at, like, the unrequited love bit. I think it would have been better if they hadn't had that like kissy lovey-dovey moment at the cliffs before Jack had to go and die.
Before he just had to go and die.
He just had to go and die.
Classic Jack.
No, I mean, it would have been better if they hadn't said anything, and then because then that would have implied that Kate had to live with this unrequited love for the rest of her life, and then only in the afterlife, in this purgatory, were they ever really honest about their feelings. That is just my 2 cents, though. And yeah, so
only had 2
opinions.
The guy that killed Ben's daughter, I forget his name.
Yeah, I forget that guy's name.
It was a great casting, though. Because that guy, first off, he couldn't have played any other character in the show. And also, I feel like just his look alone was a perfect fit for that character.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And,
just, he was scary.
The whole cast is great. Small characters to big time characters, just everybody was great, on point, I thought. What about you?
I could
Did you
definitely
not like
see
anybody's acting in the show?
who was that couple that stole the diamonds? I can't remember their name. I remember they were really okay. Going back to the contrived question that you asked earlier. If there was one thing that I felt like that was kind of forced, it was definitely that couple. I can't remember what their names are for the life of me, but I guess that's just how unmemorable they are. But
I can remember their faces.
Sorry,
though.
but
I can remember what they look like.
I can't even really remember their faces. I just remember.
Do you remember what?
They had diamonds and they were buried alive, which was the only two interesting things about them.
Do you remember what the purpose of that was? I don't even recall.
No, I think they were just like, you know what I suspect, or what it felt like to me at least, was that they had gotten critiques from people being like, what about the other people that are on the island with them? What about the other survivors? And so they were like, crap, we better write in some other people to make it more believable. And so they came up with these two characters, and it just, people were like, I don't get why they're there. They were like, crap, this backfired.
Oh, crap.
Oh, crap.
Crap.
But, yeah, I understand why they like killed them off. It was kind of one of those things where it's like, well, you learned your lesson. And it's so funny, like, man, come up with better ways to get rid of your characters other than killing them, because that gets really annoying. I see it. Yeah. I know the episode, like from the get-go of the episode, I know that a character is gonna, like, I knew in Juliet, I knew the episode when it started that she was gonna die. Like the opening shot, I was like, I was definitely like the opening shot of the episode that she dies. I was like, oh, she's gonna die here. She's dying here. She's totally dying here. No.
But I mean, when the show takes place on an island in a secluded place, how else are you supposed to write off a character other than them dying?
That's a good question.
Yeah, exactly.
I always thought that getting kidnapped was not a complete write-off.
True.
But you had, like, here and there. Like, because they could always have the possibility of coming back, right? So there was, like, Michael and Walt, right? Yeah. And I really miss, like, I wanted them to do something more with Walt, because I want to, what was up with his psychic abilities? I want to know more about that. That sounds like super interesting.
That was a little
what happened to that Lost in Heroes crossover? So help me.
Lost in Heroes crossover, what?
What? What?
What are you talking about? I don't even know.
I have no idea.
I just remembered one of my favorite moments. And it wasn't an intense moment. It wasn't a confusing moment. It wasn't a sad moment. Mm-hmm. Any guesses to what I'm thinking?
No.
One of my favorite moments. God, I have a lot of favorite moments, actually. I love Ben.
Yeah.
But Ben's not involved in this moment. This moment is...
Just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, it was great. Ben Linus, everybody.
Yeah, Ben Linus.
Give it up. The moment I'm thinking of is when the others had Sawyer and Kate locked up in the cages outside. Uh-huh. And Sawyer finally figured out. Pellet. Yeah, the fish pellets. He finally figured it out. And there was a whole cheery song to go with it that was playing, and he was like celebrating. That was great. It was one of the most comedic moments in a non-comedic show. Mm-hmm. So.
Every time I think of Sora now, I'm like, you should have been with Juliet from the start. I really ship the two of them. I read this thing on Instagram the other day, because, you know, I'm a millennial and stuff. That was like, I realized the other day that nobody really understands what the words ship and canon mean. And somebody else had commented by saying, we probably just sound like a bunch of pirates.
Canon.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, good point. Well, you know, in your defense, most people born after 1980 or so are millennials. So That's a fact.
What are generations, man?
Yeah. What even is?
It's just a construct, man. Gonna go straight into Chong here. Don't mind me.
Oh yeah, how about Drive Shaft? What do you think about Drive Shaft?
Do I get a full version?
You all everybody.
No, I never do I?
You all everybody.
It's
I
cruel.
wish.
It's
Because
cruel. They owed us at least that.
the amount of times I heard the song in the show, I got to really like it, and I wanted a full version. And I know they probably do have a full version somewhere. It's just, not easily accessible to the public. You all everybody. You all everybody.
Yeah, it seems like it could be a hit. Come
Yeah,
on.
I mean, it was in the show.
Come in.
It was a
At the
hit in the
time,
show, so.
rock and roll was still all the rage with the
Rack and roll?
with the Blink 182s and the Green Days and the whatever.
You think Drive Shaft is in the same realm as Blink
No.
and Green Day?
No.
Oh, yeah, because I mean they're a one-hit wonder, so it's the only song anybody knew. You all everybody, you all everybody. Okay, so I'm sure you're fully aware
Yeah.
that J.J. Abrams was the executive producer of Lost.
Fully.
So
It's got that Abrams touch.
we're wrapping up
Sounds
towards
creepy.
the end of the episode here, so we're going to
Lord.
play a little game.
Oh Lord.
I am going to ask you
I don't perform well. Sorry.
to name as many things as you can that J.J. Abrams
Oh God! Don't make me do this.
has produced.
No! Don't make me do this. No! Don't make me do this.
You ready? 30 seconds
No!
on
No!
the
I'm not ready. I'm not ready for this.
30 seconds on the
I
clock.
can't. I freeze under pressure.
I'll give you one.
Star Wars. I
One
know.
is
I know
one.
that.
The Force Awakens. Good. That's two things.
Oh Lord. I'm
Let's see
pretty
if
sure
you can get to 10.
Super 8 was one of them.
Super 8 was one of them. Good
Oh
job. That was a good
Lord.
movie, by the way.
Oh Lord.
I'm going to have to talk about that movie at some point.
Mission Impossible.
Oh, yeah.
See,
Ghost
when I get
Protocol,
nervous,
too.
I get all Wisconsin-y.
Wisconsin.
Oh Lord, I can't
That's
think.
4.
I can't think. Oh, I know there's so much more. I just can't. I'm freezing
Just
up.
one
at the
more. If you
moment.
can get to
I can't.
5.
Oh man. Oh Lord. I'm not going to be able to.
I'll give you a hint. So, I was talking to you,
And I'm going to be like, oh, I'm so stupid. I should have said that.
and I'm just learning this now. But I told you before that the actor who played Ben Linus was on a TV show,
Uh-huh.
which I wasn't really too interested in, but I considered watching it because Ben was in it. I'm now finding out that J.J. Abrams was the executive producer of that show, which is making me consider watching it, actually, because I didn't know that before. Can you remember that show? That is your hint.
Is it a detective show?
I
have a
kind
feeling.
of, a little bit, maybe. I'm not sure. I haven't seen it, but it seems related to detective.
Detectiving.
Yeah, detecting. Rated R.
It's not that Sherlock Holmes show, is it?
No, this
Oh,
was
okay.
I can tell you it's a CBS show.
Yeah, I have no clue.
Oh, you almost got to 5, but you didn't. Bummer.
Maybe if you give me a second, I can think of something else.
Okay. 1. Did you get it?
Oh, no. Oh, come on.
He has a lot of stuff in pre-production.
See,
Wow.
that's why I'm like, that's why, oh, in pre-production.
And
Well,
a
I
lot
know
of
he's
stuff in
already,
general.
oh, Alias! 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 He did Alias! He did Alias! That was his stuff. That was him. That was Alias. Yeah, that was
Alias.
totally it. Ha! Ha!
It's
I
on
did
there.
it. See, I told you, give me a second and I will come up with one.
Well, you got it.
That was the one before Lost that they were like, yeah, let's have that guy make another show.
Yeah,
he's really good at it.
Yeah. Anyway,
see,
so.
I knew there was like another major thing that from him, because all those things that I named are like, oh yeah, I like all those things, right?
Yeah.
So I knew there was like one more that was like,
J.J. Abrams is good. I like.
There is something.
I am very much looking
missing.
forward.
I want to rewatch Alias now.
I'm very much looking forward to see what J.J. does with Star Wars Episode 9 coming out at some point. I think next year, probably. They seem to be releasing them
like another
once
adaptation.
a year.
Huh? What?
Star Wars? They've seemed to be releasing like one a year, so I think Episode 9 is going to be coming out next year, probably. Anyway, I was saying that I'm excited to see what JJ does with it.
Yeah. I mean, I can't. I was. Words. I don't have an opinion. I'm just going to wait and see what he does. Because I feel like I could go either way. So.
Well, we are fast approaching the end of the episode here. So, do you have anything you want to plug?
Well, that time of the show.
It's that time.
I guess in partnership, I don't know, with the San Diego Mesa College Film Company. Ooh, sorry. I will be producing, I guess, another horror short with a good friend of mine, Brittany Burkett, called The Waitress, in which a...
name drop, by the way.
Yeah, for real. In which a family goes out to have a nice lunch, and the waitress is a bit strange. So
a bit on the strange side.
Yeah. So
strange how? Do we get to know yet?
No.
Oh, okay.
Of course not.
I'm just going to assume that it's strange in a similar manner to Lost. Somehow.
She's a polar bear. See? Spoiler alert.
What if Lost was
actually
just one
spoiler alert? If you really want to know, the whole thing is an elaborate purgatory setup. The whole diner.
What if Lost was just
Don't tell Brittany.
One big elaborate Coca-Cola commercial?
Whoa.
Because of the panda. And, they got a trademark on pandas.
Pandas? You mean polar bears?
I mean, yeah. Whatever those things are. Yeah. Some sort of...
Whatever those things are.
Some sort of big, fuzzy, heavy animal.
Yeah, big, fuzzy thing dying in the ocean or whatever. Doesn't seem like an issue. Not an issue.
Yeah. Anyways, so... before you go...
Yeah.
As a
wake you up? Oh, sorry. What?
Well, yeah, wake me up before you go. Go.
Okay.
And as a small thank you for being a guest and my first guest on the show, and a thank you for talking movies and or TV shows with me, I'm going to give you
the soul of your firstborn child.
Yeah.
Yes.
But mainly a classic movie snack.
Oh, yum. That's just about as good as the soul of your first unborn child.
There you go.
Oh, red vines.
Whoa. Name drop.
What?
Sponsor.
What?
I was just going to say licorice. Non-name.
Non-copyright infringing. Licorice.
Not until they pay me. But... Anyways, I'm Kevin. Thanks for talking movies with me. And if you want to reach out to the podcast, remember you can follow us on Instagram at Kevin Talks Movies, or you could email the podcast, Kevin Talks Movies Podcast at gmail.com. Thanks for talking movies with me, and we will see you next week. Thanks.